News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
The sale of Community Medical Center is a done deal. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It is Tuesday, January 13th, 2015. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Montana Morning. And our newscast this morning is sponsored by Kootenai Creek Village, the maintenance-free active adult community. They're located in Stevensville, where you're going to have hundreds of builders' options to choose from. Right now it's cloudy, 28 degrees in Missoula. Today's top story, yesterday, Montana Attorney General Tim Fox approved the sale of Community Medical Center in Missoula to a joint venture consisting of Billings Clinic and Regional Care Hospital partners. Fox told me last night that hundreds of comments were received from the public regarding the sale.
My office has worked very hard to conduct, I think, over 55 interviews. We've looked at over 2,000 pages of documents. Even though it wasn't required by law that we accept public comment, we did so.
Fox says one aspect of the sale has yet to be completed, though.
What we didn't do today was approve the final distribution plan for the charitable assets that will come out of this sale. As you know, the plan was not proposed by CMC until late last year, and I don't believe that either gave the state the time to consider that proposal or, for that matter, the general public.
Billings Clinic and Regional Care Hospital partners will pay approximately $74.8 million for community's assets. Billings Clinic officials are hoping the sale can be closed as early as the end of the business day today. A man in his 50s died in a weekend house fire in Olney, which is up northwest of Whitefish. Olney Fire Chief Ken Moorhead says the fire was reported about 4:30 Sunday morning, and the house was fully engulfed when fire crews arrived. He said crews could only work to keep the fire from spreading. Moorhead told our news partners at KECI Television that the victim apparently was sleeping when the fire was sparked by a wood-burning stove. He was the only one in the house. No names have yet been released. The investigation into the officer-involved shooting on New Year's Eve in Evero has been completed by the Missoula City Police Department, and the results have been forwarded to the county attorney's office. Captain Dave Conway describes the Sheriff's Department's policy on the use of deadly force.
Lethal force is force that is employed by a deputy or officer for the purpose of causing, or which the officer knows to create a substantial risk of causing, death or serious bodily injury. When lethal force is justified, the means by which force is applied is irrelevant.
Conway says using lethal force does take its toll on the officer involved.
It does take a toll on individuals. It's not a job for everybody. It can be a really tough job. And we try to help our officers and try to help each other through it as best we can. All we ask is for some understanding from the public that we're really there for them.
The New Year's Eve incident in Evero was the second officer-involved shooting that occurred in Missoula County within 24 hours. Both are still under investigation. Democrats plan to use Senate consideration of the Keystone XL oil pipeline to get Republicans on the record about climate change and to resurrect parts of a bipartisan energy efficiency bill doomed by pipeline politics last year. However, Republicans readied additions such as lifting a ban on crude oil exports. Other possible tweaks could attempt to ban exports of oil sent through the pipeline or force the pipeline's builders to use American-made steel. Full-blown debate on the bill was expected later today after the Senate agreed 63-32 yesterday to begin deliberating that measure. The 1,179-mile pipeline would carry an estimated 800,000 barrels of crude every day to Canada from Nebraska. 100,000 of that would come from Montana. A Stoddard Street home was burglarized sometime between December 24th and January 6th. Missoula police are still looking for suspects, according to Public Information Officer Travis Welsh.
It was reported on January 6th that while a man had been away from his residence for a period of time in the 900 block of Stoddard Street, he returned and found that his home had been broken into and that he was missing some various items that included a couple of firearms, some electronics equipment, gaming systems, that sort of thing.
The missing firearms thought to be a 12-gauge shotgun and a .22 caliber rifle. So far, little information about the burglar has yet turned up.
We have very few leads, and we're hoping that somebody in the community may recognize who may have committed this crime, and they can call Detective Sergeant Jim Clowder at 406-552-6642.
To leave an anonymous report, you can also contact Five Valley Crime Stoppers. That number is 721-4444. A Montana man is facing trial next month on charges that he illegally killed 3 grizzly bears near his residence last summer. District Judge John Johnston set trial for February 17th after a plea deal between Everett Skunk Cap and federal prosecutors fell through last week. Skunk Cap last month agreed to plead guilty to killing one of the bears, but during a hearing, he said he killed all 3 in defense of his grandchildren, who were 100 feet away at the time of the shooting near Browning. Skunk Cap's attorney asked for several extra weeks to prepare for trial so the 75-year-old defendant, quote, can refresh his memory about what he told law enforcement. End quote. Each count of killing a threatened species carries a maximum sentence of 6 months in prison and a $25,000 fine. Well, winter's just getting started, you know. The City of Missoula Street Division is asking residents to not pile the snow that they plow out of their driveways and parking lots onto city streets. Superintendent Brian Hensel explains.
If you can imagine a large pile of snow out on the center line, and what happens if somebody happens to get into an accident at that location and they blame the pile? Well, then the next person that is blamed is the person who put the pile out there.
Hensel provides some alternatives as to where to put the snow that's shoveled out of driveways and commercial parking lots.
A little common sense, if you have to, put the snow either in a parking space, you'll lose a little parking if it's a commercial site, pick a spot, pile it in the corner, or on your own private property. Instead of throwing the snow out in the street, throw it out on the side of your driveway or on the backside.
The city has a phone number to request that certain streets be plowed. That number 552-6360. Finally, 2 University of Montana alumni worked on one of the 10 finalists for the Doritos Crash the Super Bowl commercial contest. Alex Pellini, who graduated from UM School of Media Arts in 2012, is photography director and a co-producer, while Kalispell native and 2011 graduate Sean Clark served as lighting gaffer for Baby's First Word. The baby in the commercial looks to be getting ready to say Dada, but disappoints his dad when he says, all together now, Doritos instead. People can vote for their favorite ad once a day per device through January 28th. The commercial that gets the most fan votes will be shown during the Super Bowl on February 1st and will win $1 million. Doritos will choose a second commercial that will also air. Clark told the Missoulian he's been hitting up family and friends for votes. Latest Montana news. There you go, sports and weather. News Talk time now is 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
A few flurries could be going rogue this morning, but otherwise it looks like the majority of the day will be dry. You can expect to see partial sunshine, calm winds, high temperatures hanging out at 33. I'm meteorologist Adam Painter for KECI 13, your first alert station.